In this video, we're at a very windy Aberon to test this Volkswagen Caddy, one of the last vehicles you could buy that has a non-turbo diesel engine. So very, very Hubnut. It belongs to Whiteland Restorations. It is Lewis's daily driver. He has modified it in quite a few ways. So let's quickly go through that before we jump into Caddy facts. It has the 2010 onwards facelift. It is actually a 2010, but this is from the first series. It had a flatter front end on it from the factory. Big, beefy wheels. I don't even know what size these are. 17 inches. Oh, so obviously you've got to have the colour coordinated calipers to match. It's had a 60mm suspension drop. Yeah, I think it still looks fairly normal. So that tells you about how high these were from new. And if we come around this way, we've got very slightly smoked rear lights, which I think look absolutely amazing. And the rear spoiler from a BMW 3 Series Compact, sort of fitted to the top here. It looks like it always belonged there. Very, very nicely done. And just a hint of this channel you can find on the old YouTubes. Whiteland Restorations do amazing work. While we're here at the back, we will just talk about rear wipers, because the downside of this vehicle, like the preceding Polo based Caddy, the rear wiper was on the passenger side, so this bit doesn't get wiped at all. As it happens, this one has a bulkhead, so there's no rear wiper at all. But yeah, the Caddy, a very practical vehicle. You can see exactly what their inspiration was, a certain Citroen Berlingo, I think, and it's that format again. It's take a car platform, in this case the Mark V Golf, and turn it into a load lugging van. And rather than just bolt the van bit on the back, it's all a bit more cohesive, just like the Berlingo, so you can't necessarily see the underpinnings of the standard car beneath. This is actually the fourth car to wear the Volkswagen Caddy badge. The first one was the Mark I Golf. These were made, I believe, in the former Yugoslavia, as well as America, where they were sold as the Rabbit. So because it was Golf based, Caddy, that was their clever play on words. The second generation was the Polo based one I talked about earlier, where it was front end Polo car and then a box van on the back, the more typical way to do a car derived van. There was also a Skoda Felicia pickup, briefly badged as a Volkswagen Caddy around that time. And then in 2003, this version of the Caddy arrived, and quite the load lugger. But let's have a peek at the engine first of all. So under the bonnet here is quite an old school engine. Look at the space around it, the old non-turbo diesel. It produces a whopping 68 brake horsepower, 68. So roughly on a par with the Berlingo's 1.9 non-turbo diesel. When these were introduced in 2003, I think the Berlingos could still be had with that engine. But by the time these ended production, Berlingos were all turbocharged or petrol. But yeah, lots of space around it, proper old school, simple engine. So the business part of a van is the rear, and this is an ex-British Gas van. British Gas bought about 1,000 of these, painted them a similar blue, a slightly lighter blue than this, but they specified twin sliding doors, quite unusual. So this is the bulkhead, which robs a bit of space just to make sure there's space for the seats. Handy cargo net on the back here. And in terms of how long the bed is, well, let's have a look. The wind proving a bit much for that door stay, unfortunately. But oh yeah, that's enough space for me. I'd say it's a bit firm though, probably needs a nicer mattress. But you can see Lewis has upgraded the illumination, the rather dim interior light, now backed up by these nice LEDs and some lovely tartan work as well. So yeah, twin doors. Woo! Look at the poshness, so open. Moving inside, nice wide opening door, acres of grey plastic, all very functional really, but it's all very typical Volkswagen. Nice circular vents for the air. We've got little windows in front of the mirror for a slightly better view. I think this has been upgraded with this fancy sat-nav thing. I doubt it came with one of those from new. I can turn the ASR off. I presume that's some sort of traction control, just in case the fearsome 68 brake horsepower gets too much, you know. But yeah, nice driving position. I've got somewhere to rest my clutch foot, and it's a nice snickety little gear lever. Slightly odd that the handbrake is actually technically on the passenger side. I guess they didn't bother moving that. 2 cup holders down here, and oh yes, come in for the look at the cup holders, and you can probably get bottles and stuff in the door as well. But yeah, nice comfortable seats, plenty of bolstered support. Again, you know, that fearsome power. You're well kept in your seat. They're actually really nice and very sporty. I don't know if these were standard items or not. So there are some lovely poverty touches in this vehicle. If you come and look at the instrument binnacle, Lewis has put a sticker here to block off the top end of the rev range. He's just worried about me going a bit crazy with so much power. But we've just got a blank where you'd expect there to be a coolant temperature gauge. So there's just nothing. But yeah, there you go, some bleeping. And we'll start the engine, and it sounds very much like a diesel engine. Another poverty touch, notice it's got AC, only we haven't. It's not actually a button. So in fact, even that doesn't seem to work. So maybe things are broken, or maybe they're not connected to anything. That swish, yeah, I don't believe that is standard. But we have got lots of storage up here as well. Lewis can store his aviator shades, make sure he looks cool. We have got a rear mirror fitted, but it's not a stock one. It's got cameras. It's got built-in dash cam, so that's the front view, and I can see out the back as well because there's no rear. I can't see rearwards. There's a bulkhead in the way. And interior light. Oh, it does work. There we go. Very nice. Oh, overhead storage as well. We've got some overhead storage in the Berlingo. We never use it. What's this? I hope it's not embarrassing, Lewis. Tom. Oh, there we go. Not embarrassing. You're quite safe. Ooh. You got some crisps up here.
Oh, going through Lewis's stuff.
Best before July 21. Oh, Lewis, you forgot your crisps, mate. I'm actually really disappointed for you.
Right, salted as well. You want
yeah.
salted, don't you?
Indicator test. Very, very quiet. You can barely hear it over the rattle of the engine, even if we turn the cooling fan down. I'm going to put some lights on. I'll do a wiper test. Oh, it sounds like that screen wash might be a little on the low side. Good overlap, typical Volkswagen. No triangle of doom here. An excellent wiping performance. And of course we can't test the rear one because there isn't one. And if there was, it'd be rubbish. Away we go. Give it a bit of a turning circle test. That's not bad. They did do various lengths of this, and they did a Caddy Maxi or Caddy Life, which had rear seats. I have driven one of those of the facelift type with a DSG gearbox. Not my favourite gearbox in the world. I'm far happier with a stock standard manual. I've just remembered one thing I don't like is this. Why is this so long? This is the adjuster for moving the seat back and forth, and it keeps catching the back of my leg, and I don't like that at all. But yeah, a typical diesel performance, very docile. Very good at pottering about speeds. So that's tick over in second gear. Seems entirely happy with that. Right, let's give the performance a proper test up this rather steep hill coming out of Abrera. Yeah, performance is leisurely, and that engine does get a bit loud as you have to extend it, which you have to do because there is no power. But I think actually for a 2-litre non-turbo diesel, I don't think it actually pulls too bad. It's helped by lower gearing, so I think it feels more sprightly than it is. Certainly it feels a little more sprightly than the Peugeot Partner non-turbo diesel we drove last year. Was it last year? It was last year, yeah. Inspired us to get our own Berlingo. A bit of wind noise because it's a very, very windy day here on the coast. But here comes the national speed limit sign, so I can put my foot down fully. Oh, it already is. "42, 44, 46. Oh yeah, acceleration is apparently more than this. Is it a Nissan? Nissan Elgrand, isn't it? But you know, you cruise along, and it's really not too bad at all at lower speeds. But if we whiz around here and go back down the hill, we can show you the limitations of gearing. Oh, you're flying now. 40 miles an hour. 50. Gravity's our friend. And that's 60 miles an hour. We're doing about 2,800 RPM though. And if I were to briefly break the speed limit, no, you don't want to go there. A motorway cruiser, this vehicle is not. It would be high revving. I think it would be over 3,000 RPM at motorway speeds. That would get tiring. The amount of noise that's coming through. But the brakes, on the other hand, as I almost send my camera lady through the windscreen, are formidable. I don't know if Lewis has upgraded those as well, but it stops so very well, which is a stark contrast to the Berlingo. The Berlingos always feel a little under braked, and the ride is a little on the firm side, a touch bouncy, but not too bad really. Generally Volkswagen products tend to ride a bit firm compared to their softer French brethren, but the beauty is it handles so well and feels so good that you can employ the old 2CV motto. If you haven't got much power, simply don't slow down. But yeah, you can probably detect there's a little bounciness going on in the camber action, but yeah, it's a really pleasant thing to drive. So the 2010 facelift of the 2K Caddy, as it's known, helped extend the life, and then in 2015 there was a bit more of a comprehensive reworking, and then very recently, or fairly recently, the Caddy has become a Ford Transit Connect. So two rivals have come together, because obviously Citroën, Peugeot, Fiat and now Vauxhall all have a small van. It's the same small van, but platform sharing is the way to make money in this sector. So Ford and Vauxhall have come together to do the same. A quick bit about gearbox, by the way. It's slightly surprising to discover gearboxes are a weak point on these non-turbo diesels. Obviously beefed up the gearbox for the turbo diesels, but left this one a bit weak. They can develop issues, and this one has been rebuilt. This car, or van rather, has only done 70,000 miles, but it's already had a gearbox rebuild. So don't necessarily believe everything they say about German engineering being the best. Foibles affect all cars. So that was the 2010 Volkswagen Caddy. This one trying to look a bit at both sides of that facelift. And I have to say, would this tempt me away from a Berlingo? I don't think so, not with this engine, but the overall concept, it's very spacious and it's just generally very pleasant to drive. So I think it could sway my eye, perhaps. But I am happy with my Berlingo for now. But yeah, I think it's a lovely bit of design, very smooth, very stylish. And yeah, I really like it. So thank you to Lewis for letting us drive his daily driver, and we shall see you in a future video. Farewell. Oh, very nice, very nice.
Patiently on the side of the road. We are currently at Llanacheiron, which is property about 2 miles outside of Aberaeron. It's a National Trust property. It's got, well, in season it's got a cafe. You've got a country house. There's a lovely walks as well.